This is a Hana Harmony bedtime, daytime Bible story. Elijah in the desert. Yeah. First Kings chapter 19, 1 through 8. Even though rain had come, even though rain had come, King Ahab and his evil wife Jezebel still wanted to kill Elijah. Elijah ran for his life to the desert. He was so tired he lay right down, want to sleep. Yeah. Soon someone left. Tapped him on the shoulder. An angel had come to make Elijah dinner. The angel fed Elijah a second time too. Then Elijah was strong enough to make a long journey. Yeah, God just stand front of the cave and give let the angel supplies food for Elijah. So what do you suppose Elijah thought when an angel brought him food? What do you think the angel brought him food? The God speaks to Elijah. 1 Kings 19, 9 through 18. Elijah was still being chased by the evil king, and that made this side is better. Yeah. Elijah was still being chased by the evil king, and that made Elijah sad. Elijah went into a cave. God said, stand here and I will pass by. A strong wind blew, but God didn't speak. An earthquake shook the ground, but God didn't speak. A fire burned, but still God didn't speak. Then when it was quiet, Elijah heard the gentle voice of God. Go find a man named Elisha. He will be a helper to you, and he will be the next prophet. Yeah, God is so good because he knew Elijah was so tired. So God's still waiting outside of the cave because of God is so brilliant in brightness by his righteousness. So he wondered that Elijah died through the brightness. So yeah, next prophet Elisha. So where do you suppose Elijah found Elisha? Where do you suppose Elijah find Elisha? Elijah's helper. 1 King chapter 19, 19 through 21. Elijah left the desert right away. He found Elisha plowing a field. Elijah put his coat over the young man. That meant he wanted Elisha to be his helper. First, Elisha and his family. Yeah, this is not good. Elisha to be his helper. First, Elisha and his family had a big feast because of this part is so pretty, so that's why I'm just moving my yeah, seat is not comfortable to me, but prefer your view. So the Eliza to be his helper, first with Eliza and his family had a big feast. Then he said goodbye to his mother and father and followed Elijah. So Elijah did exactly what God told him to do. Now he and Eliza would work for God together. Yeah, work for God together. Yes, and go through a bad queen, really bad queen. Let's go. King Ahab and his evil wife Jezebel decided they wanted a neighbor's land. Speaking badly against God, or the king was against the law. Jezebel got some people to lie and say the neighbor Naboth had said bad things about both God and King Ahab. So Jezebel had Naboth killed, and King Ahab took Naboth's land. Not long afterward, King Ahab and his wife both died terrible deaths. God saw what Ahab and Jezebel had done. How do you think about that? God fear. That made God fear. Yeah. Next, the chariot of fire. Yeah, chariot of fire. Yeah, The Second Kings, chapter 2, 1 through 12. Elijah was getting old. His helper Eliza went with him everywhere. One day Elijah and Eliza were together when God sent a chariot and horses made of fire. The fiery horses and chariot came between Elijah and Elisha. Then, all of a sudden, Eliza went up to heaven in a whirlwind. Elisha saw him go. Let him go like a whirlwind. God led him up to heaven. So someday we will go to heaven. It will be a wonderful place. Really, we cannot even imagine about the place of heaven. Who do you think will see there? Who want to you see? Yeah, your mom and dad, your family, your friends. Me too. Yeah, you're all church members and your people too. Elijah's quote. Here, Elijah's quote. There. So, as 2 Kings, chapter 2, 13 through 14, as the whirlwind took Elijah to heaven, his coat fell off and landed on the ground. Elisha picked it up. He went to the river and hit the water with the coat, Elijah's coat. He said, "Where is the God of Elijah?" Elisha wanted to see if God's power was on him like it had been on Elijah. It was. The water split in the middle, and Elisha walked across on dry ground. So this was the first miracle God did through Elisha. Keep reading to learn about more miracles that came later. Yeah. Let's go. The miracle of the pot of oil. 2 Kings chapter 4, 1 through 7. My dead husband owed money to a man. That man is going to make my 2 sons his slaves. A woman told Eliza, I have nothing but this small pot of oil. So get empty jars from your neighbors, said Elisha. Now pour oil into them. When the woman started pouring oil from her pot, it just kept coming. She filled every jar in the house. Then she sold the oil. Paid her debt to the man, and saved her boys from slavery. So how could a small pot of oil, so many big jars and pots? It was a miracle. Yeah, that's the miracle. Eliza helps a little boy. 2 Kings chapter 4, 8 through 37. Another woman also begged Eliza for help. Her little boy had died. Eliza went to her house. He went to the room where the little boy's body lay and prayed over him. The little boy sneezed and opened his eyes. He had come back to life, and he was just fine. So this was another wonderful miracle. Only God can give people life. Yeah, God can give people life. The poison in the stew. 2 Kings chapter 4, 38 to 41. Eliza met some hungry men. He had his servant make them stew. One of the men wanted to help. He found some plants and added them to the stew. He didn't know they were poisonous. When the men started eating, they cried, there's death in the pot. Elisha put flour into the stew, and the food became safe to eat. Yeah, throwing flour into a stew doesn't usually, remove poison. This was another miracle from God. Yes. One more. Yeah. Food for everyone. Yeah, you can give 2 Kings chapter 4, 42, 44. People all over Israel were running out of food. They were hungry. One man brought 20 loaves of bread to Eliza. Eliza said, feed the people. The man said, we can't feed 100 men with so little bread. Eliza told him to start feeding them, and there would be bread left over. Sure enough, that's what happened. Eliza was not doing these miracles in his own power. God was helping him. What miracle do you think happened next? What miracle do you think happened next? The almost time gone. The almost 15 minutes. So let's go the other miracle next video. Thank you guys. Yeah. 7 dips in the Jordan River. Yeah. Thank you. Next story is the Naaman's story.